All right, let's get right into it. A lot has happened between yesterday and today. Now, in the YouTube algorithm, in the YouTube streets, how far is too far? So everybody was waiting for Cory Holcomb's 5150 show last night. I didn't get a chance to actually check it out until today. I ain't gonna lie, I fell asleep. But what Cory said last night. Now, if you're not aware of this whole thing between Anton Daniels and Cory Holcomb, Anton was on this show last week. Obviously, they got into a verbal spat, almost got into a physical fight. Now, how far is too far, right? So Cory's show last night, this was the time where he got a chance to address what happened the week before between him and Anton. Now, I'm going to play this. Now, Cory actually, of course, he roasted Anton Daniels because Cory's a comedian. That's what he does. Now, it was a little cringy to me to see Cory actually bring up Anton Daniels' daughter, right? Him bringing up his wife was a surprise, but not that big of a surprise. But actually bringing up Anton Daniels' daughter kind of just was cringy to me. But I'm going to play this, and then we're going to go into Anton's response.
You're an ugly ass boy. You brag on having no children out of wedlock. You got a picture of his daughter? I'm a dirtbag. You got a picture of his daughter?
That nigga got a picture.
This motherfucker brag on not having no children out of wedlock. What happened, D? It crashed.
The Holcomb incident. Now,
That's the broad.
I was told.
Y'all can get the broad off. That's his daughter.
Now, I didn't think he was going to actually put up a picture of his daughter, right? Now, Anton Daniels' daughter, I don't believe that she's of age. I don't believe she's 18 yet, that she may be a teenager, but I'm probably going to blur the face out on this video because I don't want any lawsuit smoke, because I think that that's where this is going to go next. But let this keep playing before I give my response.
This man said he ain't got no children out of wedlock. Nigga,
That's Cool
Don't-
Mo daughter.
that's who?
Not Cool Mo D, Cool Mo daughter.
That's the air up there, nigga. Look,
Go
nigga, let me tell you
downtown.
something. Don't make no more kids, nigga. That bitch gonna be buying pussy like you after a while. If you don't know, nigga, don't ever brag on no motherfucking what you ain't got. Don't nobody want no kids with you, nigga. Don't nobody want no kids with you. Your prime years, you was a scammer, nigga. You was doing scams. Now that you older and found a way to manipulate, get dude off the screen. Get dude off the screen, man. Who the fuck is that, nigga? This motherfucker cat. I'm the captain now. Look at it. Hey, look.
Now, this is so crazy because, again, like, Cory's a comedian, and I never thought he would go that far to put somebody's kid on the screen. Now, there's two schools of thoughts. A lot of people are going into it and they're saying, look, Anton Daniels talks about people all the time. He talks about kids in his videos and his reaction videos. But these two guys got into a spat last week. And, for me personally, I just couldn't bring up someone else's kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have children, and I just think when two men are going at it, it's like bringing up each other's kids or bringing up someone's kids is just, it felt cringy. It just, something about it felt bad. But Cory Holcomb is a different kind of comedian. He doesn't give a F, right? So let's let this keep going, because in a couple of minutes, he actually brings up and plays a video of Anton Daniels' wife. Now, his wife is an adult, you know what I'm saying? Her videos on the internet, people saw it before anyway, but I'm going to give an overall response to what I really think about this situation, right? So I'm going to let this keep going.
Let me tell you something. Don't make no more daughters, dog. You got to make it where your shit come out with a boy so he can make excuses for him. But you ain't got no kids out of wedlock because ain't no bitches fucking with you. He was on the internet bragging, I always got a bad bitch with me. No, you pay a bitch to be with you, nigga. You ain't no nigga who got bitches. You buy bitches like the little bitch you had with you, goddammit, who motherfucking made that story sound like she wanted to sound. I got to town Tuesday. Did you get to town Tuesday? Or was you in Vegas with him? I don't know. Did you get to town Tuesday, really? So you let that man lie to you bring you up here talking about you holding the show, and you ain't mad at that nigga? I seen you on that show when he said something about dick sucking to the other dude. You know what kind of nigga that is. Little sister, let me tell you something. If you trying to get on, come get it on your back like the women who really moving up in the world. You can get on the show, but it's other things that got to be got on. That's all I'm saying. This is show business. You got to do what you got to do. You doing it, it's just you doing with a lane. That motherfucker spent you, told you, yeah, I'm gonna put you on the show. That nigga ain't got no power up here. He ain't got nothing to do. The only power he had was to run his mouth. That's all he did. Run his mouth. When a man challenged him, he bagged down. So if you want to be on the show, because I heard you say, I went to Cory Holcomb's show, got the clip with his wife. Yeah, you got the wife. Play the clip with that mark ass nigga wife. By the way, if I get under your skin, you know where I'm at, homie. You know where I'm at. The clip with his wife. This is the funniest shit.
Oh, wow. Times it can be hard and sad and difficult because Anton has a lot of different personalities, and so you have to be a certain type of woman to deal with. Anton is very emotional. He doesn't communicate effectively. I don't think that he has killed anybody before. I think he's capable of it. I've seen him angry before. He's just like a totally different person when he's angry. He blacks out.
Now, that video was weird to me. Like, that's Anton Daniels' wife. Look, it's all strange to me, but again, she's an adult, and she may obviously his wife made that video at some point talking about him, so I guess that's fair game to play. The only thing that again was cringy to me was to have his daughter on there. Let me go over to Anton Daniels' response. He did give a response this morning on his show, and where this thing is going, right? I think this thing is going in a direction probably of a lawsuit. That's what I'm getting from Anton Daniels. Now, he addresses this morning. Before I even play this, I'll just say, honestly, I'm not sure if he's actually hurt, but I think he's setting the stage. It sounds like he's probably talked to a lawyer, because when Cory put up Anton's daughter, and his daughter is a minor, I believe that she's not over 18. I don't know if Cory broke a law or not. I don't know if since the picture is on the internet of Anton's daughter and Cory put it on there, I don't know if that's illegal or not legal. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. But I do think that it may be going in this direction. Let's play a little bit of Anton's response to Cory Holcomb talking about his daughter. Because not only did Cory Holcomb put up the picture, but he basically said some mean things about his daughter, which I think it was cringy to watch, but
fine. I'm gonna speak to that. Vato's Bulldogs used to be a very, very heavy supporter of the show. But what I've realized is people will switch and change depending on how messy that they want you to be. So I'm gonna address this like this, because the thing that I tell people all the time is you never, ever, yeah, facts, fair weather friends. We know what it is. We've even revived some people's platforms with hate. But in a month, those same platforms are going to have to figure out what else to talk about once this whole thing dies down. All right, but let me get to exactly what it is that y'all want to talk about. So, of course, I'm familiar, and of course, people were sending it to me yesterday and all of that, right? They were sending me everything that was being said about my daughter and my wife and all of that stuff, right? And so the thing that I try to tell people on a regular basis is this: never, ever, under any circumstances, let your emotions make you make illogical decisions. We are a thinking people now. We are evolving. We are no longer subjecting ourselves to the same rules as the streets, as the culture, as the thing that we criticize the most. So I'm gonna just say this. I'm not gonna make it a long thing. I'm gonna be very, very clear, and we're gonna move on. I'm not gonna address it again. All right. So here's the thing. Since the beginning of time, I've always, my number one thing in life, above all, when I made the decision that I wanted to have a kid, and I said that I was only gonna have one kid because I wanted to make sure that I poured every single resource that I could into the kid, right? And that is the purest thing that we can do, is that we can take care of our children. Our children are the ones that are our future. Now, I'll give you a little bit of insight for those of you that may not be familiar with my daughter. USA team, at different points throughout the year, she's usually ranked about number 2 or number 3 in the country. Junior Olympian, probably has close to over 325 medals, of which 200 and maybe 80 of them are gold. Has traveled across the world representing our country, and is probably the sweetest soul that I personally know. Now, of course, we can be a little bit biased because all of our kids are the sweetest things to us. Those of us that are in our kids' lives and that are participating in our children's lives. But a very, very accomplished minor child, meaning that she's still a child. And one of the things that I tell my daughter every single day is that I want you to stay in a child's place. I never want you to grow up too fast. I never want you to be out here doing things that you're not supposed to do, because you have an expectation on your life. And so the thing that I've always done is try to protect my daughter against the world, from the world. And what this has shown me is that eventually all of our children, and she is still a child because she is an underage child, all of our children eventually will have to see how ugly the world is.
Let's stop it there for a minute. Now, Anton Daniels saying that in that point, I think, is very important. Now, I'll say overall, like I said, I really think that Cory putting up a picture of his daughter, talking about how she looks and stuff like that, is to me just below the belt. I wouldn't do it personally. However, when Anton Daniels talks about, we try to protect our kids from the world, and we have to realize they're going to see how ugly the world is, I agree. You know what I'm saying? I have kids, but this is what I'll say. When you do have kids and you have a wife and you have people you care about and you're on this internet, right? You got to be careful how you engage, who you engage, and the things you talk about. So I'm not saying that Anton Daniels deserves for his daughter to be talked about or his wife to be talked about. What I'm going to say is that it's not surprising. You leave them, particularly your daughter, you leave them vulnerable to be talked about, because when you're on the internet talking about people disparagingly and just kind of going in and having no filter, you got to understand that the world gives that back to you, right? So people are gonna dig in and see, well, who is this person's wife, right? I'm talking about Anton Daniels. He talks about, on his content, he's very critical of, women, black women, and people in general. He gives his opinion. Again, I'm not saying that it's wrong, right? I like some of his content, but when you're on this internet and you're heavily critiquing people, and you're heavily talking about people who you don't know, and you're talking about people and giving them your harshest critique without knowing their situation, you don't know those people's families. You don't know how you might be affecting those people, right? So they may take it a certain way, and when it comes back to you, again, him and Cory, I don't think this should have went that far. And again, I don't think Cory should have put his daughter up there. But when Anton is making material, he should be thinking about this when it comes to his daughter and his wife. You know what I'm saying? How am I interacting on these YouTube streets? What are the things that I'm saying, right? Who am I offending, right? I mean, you can't always be politically correct. You're going to offend some people. So I understand that. As a content creator, my thing is I'm really more about conversations and more about trying to provoke thought. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be me provoking someone's thought or someone provoking my thought, I like it all. But you can't be on this internet offending people every day and not caring and not realizing that it's going to come back to you. So I think that in that respect, he has to know that in some ways he's responsible for his daughter being talked about, and his wife being talked about, because people are just naturally going to do that when you're out here. So did Cory go too far? Yeah, I think Cory went way too far. Cory's a different type of comedian. Cory Holcomb is a different type of comedian, a different type of dude. He really don't care. Really don't care. It's obvious, right? But I do think this is going in lawsuit direction. So I don't think Anton Daniels is necessarily hurt. He could be. I don't know. This video makes it sound like he's hurt, but I think he's setting the stage to look hurt, to look like his daughter might have been traumatized, which she may have been. And I think this is going to go in a direction possibly of a lawsuit, which is going to be bad for Cory for the most part, because it's probably going to lead to some money being spent and some damage that might come to Cory financially. Let's let this keep going.
All of them. Regardless of how we feel, regardless of what happens, all of our children will have to seek, we'll have to see what the world is. What we as parents are supposed to do is protect them as long as possible, until they have to see what the world does, right? So this is what I'm gonna say. My focus right now, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get into the show. My focus right now is trying to figure out the psychological damage, impact, and trauma that has been done to my daughter. I pulling her out of school, early therapy, making sure that she is protected, trying to see what the fallout will be as far as her having to be removed from some of her competitions because of a lot of different things, including online bullying and psychological damage. There's a lot of fallout from what happens to my daughter's life because she is so accomplished. She has some of the greatest schools in the United States of America that has been seeking her out, scholarships, looking for her to join the team. She is on track to be a United States Olympian. She was supposed to be possibly in the next Olympics. And I don't know how damaging this is to her psyche. I don't know. Who knows? This can be a lifetime of damage. We don't know what butterfly effect things that we do to our children. And the one thing that most fathers, Black fathers, try to do is they try to make sure that their children are protected. That's what we do. As fathers, we don't really care what happens to us, right? Because that's just life. But we never, ever can imagine what would happen to our underage children. No. No matter what happens to us, we don't want anything. For those of us that are in our daughters' lives, we don't want anything to happen to our children. Under no circumstance. And so I don't know. I think that a lot of people don't really understand the impact. And I'm speaking to all of us, for all of us. We don't always know what the impact is to our children.
Well, again, that's why, like I said, you got to really think about who you engage with, right? Who you verbally spar with, who you physically spar with. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about that. What I think, honestly, I don't know what Anton's intentions were when he went on Cory Holcomb's show. I'm not sure what he expected. It's almost like he went there and it's almost like he's like, well, I beat Cory at his own game and Cory looks bad. And, at one point, Anton was saying, this is my greatest victory yet. And I really don't know. Like I said, these guys make two different types of content, which again is good. Two people having different points of view is good to sit down and talk, but they didn't even get to the talk. So it's now gotten to the point where if you're beefing with a comedian, comedians are different type of people. Comedians don't care. Comedians will do anything for the joke. Most comedians will. You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of look at it like that too. Cory Holcomb is a comedian. Anton Daniels is a content creator, right? Amongst other things, right? But as far as on the internet space, you have a comedian and a content creator. They both make content, but Cory Holcomb is a comedian and he is a vulgar, over the top comedian who will go for the jugular when it comes to everything, including talking about your family. Do I agree? No. But again, hopefully Anton is reflecting to say, you know what? How much am I at fault for bringing or exposing or putting my family at the possibility of exposure for people to talk about them with that type of vitriol, right? How much vitriol am I putting back for people to come at me? Because at the end of the day, people are coming at your daughter or your wife because Cory's doing that because he doesn't like you. So I'm not saying it's your fault, but reflection is to say, you know what? How much responsibility do you bear for putting the energy out there for that even to be a possibility for somebody to talk about your kid or your wife? That's my thing. So for me, like when you're single, you don't have kids, or you don't have a wife or whatever, you might just be out here crashing out, talking about people, going over the top, saying whatever you want to say, but people like Charleston White, Myron X, just anybody who's really opinionated over the top, they're going to expect that they're going to get that type of vitriol back. Now, Anton Daniels, I think he's a guy who, obviously he's married. He talks about it all the time. I'm married, so I'm proud of being married. I have children. I'm proud of my children. If you in that space, you have to be careful how much you expose yourself to the internet streets and what you're putting out there. So for me, I'm not going to get into some type of verbal spat. Not on the level of what him and Cory were doing. We can get into an intellectual conversation and a disagreement about ideologies, right? That's fine. But to get into a disagreement where we're about to fight and then we're talking, because Anton got back on his show last week after the altercation with Cory, after the verbal altercation, he talked about how much he would whoop Cory's ass and this and this and that and all this stuff. And I knew that when Cory got back on his show, he was going to go all the way in. Now, I didn't know he was going to go all the way in and talk about this guy's daughter and have a picture of her on the internet, but that's just wild work to me. So let me go back. Let me go up to the rest of this.
Rage child. That's all I care about. I could have never imagined in 1,000 years the psychological damage and the impact, the cries that I had to hear, My immediate concern was, oh my God, who do I call? But I couldn't call anybody because everything was closed at the time. So immediately pulling her out of school, immediately making sure that I go and assess the damage, trying to figure out if we're able to get her into the same competitions. Coming up, she literally just texted me probably less than 48 hours ago. All of the different competitions that she had lined up for this year. We were supposed to go to Great Britain. I don't know if she'll be able to do that. I've invested millions and millions of dollars into the well-being of my child. But you don't know what long-term damage that can make. Our entire life, we've done everything to protect our child, ensured that she's never, ever, ever needed anything whatsoever. Pray for me and my family. Pray for me, my wife, and my family. God bless. That's all I have to say about that. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm. And at this point, I've been advised not to say anything else about it. So that's all I've been authorized to say. Had a couple emergency phone calls. The only thing that I can say at this point is that I can't say anything else about it. First, I need to go and make sure that my daughter is okay. And so it's a lot of tests. I'm not sure if she got to get pulled out of school for the rest of the year. This may affect her in that way. So I have to make sure that she's okay. She's no longer safe even going to school anymore. We got to protect our babies. We got to protect our babies. Under no circumstances will I ever allow for my daughter to go under. Unfortunately for the majority of the community, unfortunately, pray for me, y'all. Pray for me, pray for my family. Pray for me. I never thought that I would have to figure out how to deal and figure out how to fix my family on this level. All right. Eric says, I came for the drama. However you decide to handle your business, I support it. I have to focus on making sure that my daughter is fine. The only business that supersedes all business is family and my daughter. All right. Chad from Morris says, I swear to be a comedian. So that's everybody else. Cory Peterkin, I appreciate you. Anton, A, B, C, and D, or Anton, I'm thinking about doing this. Or
So nonetheless, let's think about this. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, my overall thought is that when you have kids, you have a wife, you got to think about the energy that you put out that might come back to the crib. Always be aware of the energy that you put out, meaning that you have more to lose, right? Not that someone's coming to harm your children physically, but you got to think about the fact that kids now, especially when they become teenagers, they're on the internet, they're aware of what's going on. So if you're getting into these spats with people and, you know, you're getting into these arguments, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying that the possibility is somebody might get a picture of your children and child and might talk about them. You know what I'm saying? And that could do damage. Now, is Anton Daniels really going through this? Is his family really in shambles by this thing that Cory put up yesterday talking about his daughter? Possibly so. It's possible. But I do think a lot of this conversation is probably just going to lead to a lawsuit. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Don't be surprised if Anton sues Cory Holcomb and this becomes something to dig into, to put a dent in Cory Holcomb's pocket. Now, for Cory Holcomb, you know, again, I'm a fan of Cory Holcomb. I've been a fan of him as a comedian for a long time. I think him inviting Anton on the show was not a net positive at the end of the day, right? I don't think he's going to gain anything out of having Anton on the show. Cory Holcomb already has a loyal following. He's had one for a long time as a comedian. People like him and some people don't like him. It is what it is. But having Anton on the show is not a net positive. He got into an argument, and I think that someone should have advised Cory, like, don't put his daughter up on your show and start talking about his daughter. Maybe you talk about his wife. You know, I wouldn't even talk about the guy's wife, but at least the wife is an adult. But putting Anton Daniels' daughter up there and talking about how she looks and how unattractive she is and having a picture of her, and this girl is not even an adult. Somebody's Darlene or Craig, one of his Cory's co-hosts should have said, yo, man, don't even put that type of energy out there. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, yeah, some people probably laughed at it, but it's like, you know, it's still a kid you're talking about. And it's like, she didn't really do anything to you. She's just a kid. She's a teenager doing whatever she do. If you got into it with her dad, verbally just assault her dad, assault Anton Daniels, maybe assault his wife and talk about her, but talking about the kid is just cringeworthy, and for me, I just wouldn't do it. So I think overall, this whole situation has been a super crash out for both of them, but I think ultimately Cory still just did not come out the right way on this one. I really think he should have just left it alone, or he should have just roasted Anton for 2 hours. That's what I expected when the show came out last night, that he would roast Anton, talk all about him, talk about the girl Mika that he brought with him or whatever. But for him to put up the daughter, nah, bro. I just don't co-sign that one at all. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think a lawsuit is coming from Anton Daniels to Cory Holcomb? I think it's definitely on the way, and you can tell the way Anton is talking. I don't think he's as hurt about the situation. I think he's setting the conversation up and the narrative up to go forward with the lawsuit, which is going to be even crazier. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Crucial Combo.